Well, Livy, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me.
We've got Zach and Bowie in the background heckling us. They're the peanut gallery. So if you hear voices from the back, that's they're on your team. They're cheering you on. But glad you're here. Glad you're willing to talk about your experience at IGA.
Yeah.
How long have you been a part of the company now? Remind me.
So I started in April, so about 8 or 9 months. Yeah.
Gosh, it feels like I'm new. I'm newer than you, but I feel like you've been here like forever. It's like one of those things where I'm like, oh, Livy's just been here for a long time, but you're killing it.
It really does. I feel like I've been here for forever too. I mean, the relationships that I've built just within this company are so strong that I feel like I've known all of my coworkers and bosses and everything for so long.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, take us back. I want to hear a little bit of your story and just kind of your college experience and kind of how you got into this. So what were you planning on doing in your life? What were you studying in college? Like, how did you get to this point?
Yeah, so like most 21-year-olds, I graduated college at 21, and I really didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I went to MTSU, so Middle Tennessee State University, and I graduated a semester early with a degree in finance, and I always kind of knew I wanted to go into a sales role. I just didn't know exactly what I wanted to sell, and I did an internship at Brown & Brown Insurance, which is a big publicly traded firm, and I kind of got a surface level understanding of the insurance world and kind of how that works, and that was very intriguing. But I also went into real estate while I was in college, got my license, sold a few houses, and I knew I had good skill sets that would complement sales, and I knew the opportunity that the sales world could provide. I just wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to sell,
right,
and everything. So
yeah, that's interesting. So how did IGA get on your radar?
Yeah, so kind of just through my insurance professor in college got me connected with Jamie. I took the grit test.
Yep.
I did an interview with him, and then I actually ended up working at Brown & Brown Insurance, and then I was able to see kind of how a publicly traded firm operates, and then of course IGA is privately held. So then I kind of got reconnected after that internship and after I finished college with Jamie, and he explained the opportunity, which I was able to understand a lot better after my experience at Brown & Brown and sales with real estate. And I was like, wow, there's some real opportunity here. I'm just going to give it a shot.
Yeah. I love that.
And I did, and it was great.
So be honest with me. What assumptions did you have about insurance before you stepped into this world?
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely never would have pictured myself. If you would have told me at 18 years old I was going to go into insurance or construction,
right,
I would have been like, have you lost your mind? Like, construction?
Right.
This little blonde girl? No.
Right.
But I thought it was just boring. I was like, insurance. And then definitely construction. It's so male dominated. I didn't even really think about having a role in it, but here I am.
Well, I want to get into that a little bit more a little bit later, because I do think that's an important part for those that are listening or watching right now. The fact that you're a woman in this world, and then also just the challenges you have, but you've actually turned those and used them as advantages for you in this role. So I want people to hear that and see, like, hey, don't count yourself out just because you think insurance, construction, there's no way. Right. I love that that wasn't on your radar at all, and now here you are thriving in this role. Right. So talk us through your first 90 days. You get reintroduced with IGA. You're getting kind of thrown into the deep end of the pool. Your first 90 days. What was the hardest part or the most challenging part of your first 3 months here?
I think just getting kind of the hang of everything. We are trained very, very well, and we have a roadmap and a proven process that works. Yeah. And so just sticking to that process, don't do any more, don't do any less, just stick to that process and just getting the hang of everything. And, because it is hard, you do deal with a lot of pressure and rejection, especially in the beginning. And so you just have to have resilience and kind of get through that hump.
Yep. Well, you're kind of hitting on a little bit of and this is a cheat code here, but one thing we look for in people in this role is that interpersonal trust, which we were talking before we started recording with Zach and Bowie. Just like it's hard sometimes to find the people that have the resilience part, the intensity, like you said, the ability to take rejection, but also at the same time be humble enough to receive coaching and to work the play. Like you said it, like for those that'll come in and just work our playbook, they're going to be successful. But there's people, and honestly, like me, it's why I didn't pass the test, that want to recreate the wheel all the time.
Yeah.
And that just isn't, it's not successful in this role. So you being high on resilience, high on intensity, but also you've got high interpersonal trust. Can you just talk a little bit about how those things come together for you to be successful in this role?
Yeah, so like I said, it kind of just hits back onto the point I made. There's a proven process that works here.
Yeah.
And so you just have to stick to it because they are our sales trainers.
Yep.
And Jamie is a lot older and wiser than you. And so
he's going to take offense that you just called him old.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so you just have to trust the process.
Yeah.
And that's where the interpersonal trust really comes into play. Like, you are going to have rejection and you are going to have high pressure and you are going to have resilience, but you have to trust the process and keep going. And because it is a roadmap to success. Truly.
Right. That's right. And our leadership here has done a lot of hard work in looking at the data and looking at even, I get to talk to a lot of potential candidates, and candidly, not very many pass through the grid assessment. And that's because they've done so much work on really finding like who's going to be successful in this role and who's going to actually work. And then when they do find someone, and I'd love to hear your take on this, but it seems like once they find someone who fits that profile, then it's like we go all in. Like we're going to really invest in this person and help set them up to win and succeed. Has that been your experience?
Oh, absolutely. They will get in the ditch and do whatever it takes to help you succeed.
Yeah, I love that. I love that about the company. All right, I got to ask you about this because like I said, I get to have conversations with a lot of candidates, and one thing that comes up a lot is the elephant in the room of cold calling. Okay. And so I want you to just talk through like your experience on that. What is that actually like? How did you push through it? How is that different for some people who are like, listen, I love the business side. I love the analytics. I want to get in. I love the finance side. I'm a finance major, but I'm scared about the cold calling part. I don't know if I want to do the sales. Tell me your experience on that. What is the actual like day-to-day of that in this role?
Yeah. So that's a great question. Cold calling can be, intimidating to a lot of people, and it honestly scares people away from, a job in sales.
Right.
But with this job in particular, it's so hyper focused. The people that we are calling need our help. Honestly, some of them desperately need our help.
They're grateful you're calling. Yeah.
So once you get your scripts down and their training down and your understanding of bonding and insurance and kind of what you're talking about, you start seeing those hit ratios because these people truly need our help. So it doesn't necessarily feel like a cold call, even though technically, it is a cold call, but it really just doesn't feel like that. It's very much different than your typical cold call.
Well, and it's why we feel like this industry is one of the best kept secrets, is because the companies we get to partner with, like you said, they're actually required by law to have what we're offering. So like you said, when you're calling them, it's not like you're trying to sell them something they don't need.
Right.
We're actually helping improve their business. And when you guys get to build your book of business with these companies, we like to think of ourselves as one of their most important external partners, because we are literally getting in and helping them grow their business, grow their company. Could you have any examples that come to mind of people that you're working with, and just kind of like, what's some of the work that you're doing with them that is rewarding for you, where you're like, man, I get to actually come in and help this company grow?
Yeah, no, it's all the time.
Yeah.
So these companies, there's tons of examples, but you're right. We do work as external business partners, not just as insurance agents by protecting their business, or bonding agents by helping them get these jobs, but even we get them connected with construction CPAs, contract CFOs.
Yeah.
So there's so many different avenues where we work as a external business partner, essentially.
Yeah, I love that. All right, I want to pivot for a second, and you mentioned this earlier, and I want to go there. I want to talk about working as a woman in this space because it is, as you said, pretty male dominated. So I'm curious, what has your experience been like just stepping into this role as a young woman?
Yeah, so there is a certain level as, a young blonde girl walking in talking about construction. But at the end of the day, if you're able to walk in and communicate, articulate, and differentiate yourself to these business owners, then it doesn't matter, if you're a girl, boy, whatever the case is. If you're able to do those things and you can help them, then you'll be successful.
Yeah, I love that. And like I mentioned earlier, you've actually turned it into an advantage. So what do you think, if any, what do you think the advantages are that a woman could bring to this role that maybe don't get talked about enough?
Yeah, honestly, I think that as a woman, like when I'm talking to these business owners, I feel like there's a sense of like they're able to kind of just like break down and and explain their problems. They feel more comfortable. I think, girls just naturally and women just naturally have more of a caretaker. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely. I feel like the being more receptive.
Right.
I think sometimes in the room when guys come in, not always, but there can be a competitive alpha male, whatever. But I know when a strong, powerful woman comes in the room that's competent, it can diffuse the situation. It can help open up to where you don't feel that competitive streak or whatever. And you've set a great example of how to like use that to your advantage, where they come in and immediately, because of your competency, they respect you. Yeah. But they're also, their guard is down and they're able to listen and receive and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's part of your success. Wouldn't you say? I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, you said it better than I did. Yeah, they can be more, in certain scenarios, they can be more receptive, for sure.
Yep. All right, so you've been doing really well early on. What do you think would separate you and the others on the team who are succeeding from those who might struggle?
I think just resilience at the end of the day, not letting rejection set you back and being able to get back up, because you will have times where you are in spots where you're like struggling. Yeah. And you just have to get back up. You have to be resilient. You have to have grit. Yep. And so if you're not coachable and competitive and gritty, then you're going to struggle.
Yeah. Does that come naturally for you, or like how do you handle rejection without letting it like completely crush your confidence? Because I don't know that I would do so well. I take it real personal, but it seems like for you, you're able to just kind of like let it roll off your back and like on to the next. Is that something? Is that a learned behavior or?
I think honestly, some of it does come naturally, but I mean, you just can't take it personal. You just got to be resilient and just keep going. I mean, on to the next. There's honestly, at the end of the day in this industry, there are so many people that need your help. If they don't want to take your help, I mean, I kind of look at it like it's your loss.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And maybe that's not exactly how you should look at it. I don't know, but that kind of helps me get through it. I'm like, look, I'm trying to help you. I've done all I can do. If you're not willing to accept that, then roll on. I got to spend my time somewhere else with somebody that, somebody else needs my help.
That's so true. We don't have to have a scarcity mindset around who we can help and who we can serve. And I think it's why, going back to the sales conversation, I think it's why it becomes easier to sell because like you said earlier, this is helping solve a problem for them. Like it's a real need. Now, if they don't have the problem, they don't have a need, then we'll on to the next person who does.
Exactly.
But when you get matched with that person, I mean, you're really solving major problems for their business. I love the stories of people who have come back around and said, man, we wouldn't be where we are today in our business if it wasn't for how you helped us get there. And that's the stuff that
so
that
rewarding.
We feed off that stuff for sure. All right. Last question for you, unless you got anything else you want to say. This has been awesome, super helpful. What would you say to someone who maybe is like a high-achieving college senior who wants this income potential, the autonomy, and the growth, and is just unsure if this might be the right path for them?
Well, I would say the first step is to just take the grit test. Take the test and see if we're a good fit, and just take that first step.
Yeah. And I tell people all the time that assessment is there really to serve them as much as us, because we don't want anyone getting into this role that, 3 months down the road or however long they've realized this isn't for me. So that assessment really does serve them, for them to know, hey, if this is a spot they want to be.
Right.
Well, Livy, thanks for jumping on. Guys that are in the room,
Thanks
any
for
other
having
questions,
me.
any comments from the peanut gallery? You guys have been quiet. I thought you'd be heckling us a little bit more. She did great. You guys are a great team. Yeah, awesome.
Thanks, brothers.